Lovely. Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name's Amy, and I am an associate professor with the University of Lincoln and the academic lead for work-based distance learning. So a big welcome to everyone who's joined us. We're just going to introduce the panel to get started. And please do put any questions in the comments box as these things move through, anything that you think of, and we will answer those as soon as we can. So I'd like to pass to Eric to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Tebe. I'm the student ambassador living in South Africa in Pretoria.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tony Smith, and I'm the lead for engineering management.
Hello there. So my name's Fiona McManus, and I'm a lecturer within the Workplace Distance Learning team.
Hello, everybody. My name's Tim Collett. I'm a lecturer at the university with the other guys. My specialisation is leadership and management. So hopefully I might see some of you later on.
Wonderful, thank you all. So you've got quite a range of us tonight within the management sphere, and we're going to be talking about the work-based online programs. So we've got 3 preset questions that we'll just go through as we await your comments. So that first one there, so what is a work-based distance learner? So I'd like to just pass this one to Tony Smith to start, if you may.
Hi, yes. Anybody who's currently in a work environment qualifies as a work-based distance learner. It can be anybody who's got like a level 5. Because we're sort of looking at military, we're also looking around about sergeant and above, because anyone who's got 2 years as a sergeant qualifies for a level 5. Anyone else would probably need to have a look at some other closer details or email the mpg@lincoln.ac.uk. That's flashing across the screen there for a little bit of further information. So it's anybody in any given trade can be looking to develop themselves. And we give opportunities for people like yourselves to come onto a degree program and try and explore and develop new skills.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Tony. So just summarising there from a work academic point of view, if you are in work, then you have the opportunity to be a work-based distance learner, and we would help you look at your application. I'd like to pass this question to Eric now. You know, as our student ambassador, what would you describe a work-based distance learner as?
I think this is really a good opportunity for many of us that are working. And I think when we start talking about work-based learning experience, I think many of us never had an opportunity to have time to really go into school. So what this does, it gives you that opportunity to really flexibly, adapt yourself in studying conditions that you find yourself in. And I think this is something that is quite, it's been part of the good journey that I think many of us that are working, we would have loved that flexibility. When we were starting in our early days of our careers, that we could have been offered this type of opportunity. So this type of learning is quite, I can say, it's quite adaptable, but it's quite relevant to today's scenario. So it's quite powerful and it's quite relatable. I think many of us that are really being industry leaders, this is becoming more appealing and more something that is quite relatable to make sure that you are equipping yourself with the skills that you need to have as a leader. You need to basically get the acquired skill in terms of reflecting and rebuilding and refocusing for the future.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Eric. So again, linking to that, being able to do your studies as you are working and applying that experience. And thank you for that, Eric. We do have another question coming through here in terms of expectations. So I'm going to pass this one to Fiona, who looks after one of our module 1s. Just to talk about the expectations, and then Eric, if that's okay, we'll come to you as second, if that's okay.
Thank you. So in terms of expectations, what we expect from you is that you would engage with the studies and also with the tutor. So what's really nice is you've got a tutor for every module, and they're with you for the whole duration of that module. So our expectation would be that you engage with the weekly activities that are set, that you've given dedicated time, sort of worked out what works best for you to be able to give that time to your studies, and that you keep in touch with us. So if, for example, you thought, gosh, I'm not sure what to do with XYZ activity, or perhaps some of the content you're not feeling very comfortable with, you straight away get in touch with us so that we can then put in that support for you.
Thank you, Fiona. Eric, so in terms of, because you're one of our current students, what have the expectations been of you so far in the program? What would you explain those as?
It's you know, I think for the whole day I've been really reflecting on this question, and it's quite a deep question, because I think when I started initially, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But the journey that I can tell you, for every person that is gonna go in, the most powerful course that really understand and underpin what you're actually gonna go through this course, I think there was critical thinking, and I think that skill is quite powerful. And I want to really ask everybody that's going in through the course, or probably preparing yourself to go through this degree, the first course that you are doing is really to set you into the path of understanding what are the literature of what you actually underpin, and that type of skill you can actually utilize it. And I think that skill helped me as a leader in my organization as HP, that where I'm working is to challenge some of the narratives that are there, even some of the things that may not make sense, but it's something that I'm using somebody's clearly proven theory and putting it into mine to make sure that I articulate my point across. So for me, that was one of the most powerful things that I've learned from this. But initially, it was quite a scary journey. But I'm a firm believer in a journey of understanding this type of program, and I think the expectation and the lovely messages that you get from your tutors, and another thing that is quite very powerful about the school is that the tutors that you are getting, and I think Fiona just reiterated that statement, is that um, our tutors are there to help us, but it's also to challenge us in terms of our thinking, because you may have probably learned how you were doing things in the past, but it's actually readjusting your thinking to adapt in terms of what is expected of you, and make sure that what is actually being clearly expected to you, you're gonna do and produce the results that are required.
Wonderful. Thank you, Eric. We have just had a question about recording, and the session is being recorded. If you need a link to that recording, do just contact us on that contact us email at the bottom there, going around the bottom of the screen, and we'll get in touch with you for the link for the recording. We will, if we can just, we've got a question through about lessons. If we could bring that one through next, just from Sarah there. Thank you for that question, Sarah. So just because this links really quite nicely to what we was just talking about. So I'll pass this one to Tim, because we haven't quite heard from you yet, Tim. You look after the module 2 at level 6 on the honours programme. The modules are fairly similar. Can you talk about the lessons, what people do on ILME on that module 2? And the set times, how much time do people get in order to drop that into their diaries?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, as Amy says, it is one of those. It's one of the bigger assignments we do, or modules rather, and we do have a structure. But that structure is very much flexible as well, because we know that you're all very, very busy people, and sometimes you can't apply your thinking at the moment. You're away from work, so we have to sort of be collaborative, and we are very, very good at that, because as I say, we do know that it is difficult. So really, when you come to us and onto my module, the ILME, we get together right at the beginning, and that could be up to 120 people, and then we sort it out and see where people want to go, how they want to do it, and then we put it together again. Everything is all about you, the student. Okay, so we listen to you. Clearly, there will be times when that can't happen, but that doesn't really matter because we can go back into it because everything's recorded. So we can look at what we perhaps missed the day before or whatever. And the most important thing, and I think Amy would agree with this, is that our tutors are dedicated to this. Okay, we will not let you down. It is difficult sometimes to please everybody, but we do our very best, and generally we do make a fantastic way forward for you. I think as the evening goes on, I think you'll get this more and more again, because this is what helps us, and this is what we're about: flexibility, and above all, you, the student.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Tim. Just to reiterate that flexibility there, you do have the deadline in terms of the module, but when you undertake the tasks within the module, as long as you're working to that deadline, that is up to you. I would like to pass, sorry, Eric, passing you lots of these questions. In terms of, have you been able to attend any of the live sessions? And would you be able to share your experience of live sessions with Sarah?
So my first experience with the live sessions was quite very, I can say it's very flexible, because I think for me, being in a different time zone, I always have to make sure that the time that I'm choosing is quite relevant to the time, because in terms of my workload, I can make sure that I'm present at that time. And one of the most important things is that those meetings are also recorded, so it does afford you time as a student to make sure that whatever availability of time, because I think we need to adapt to the conditions that we are in today. That if you are not able to make the meeting today, you are able to get it tomorrow and really listen to that. You can be able to talk to your tutor. They can share that link again. You can read through it, and you can listen to the messaging, and it's quite powerful going forward in making sure that those message or details that you wanted to get, they are always discussed, and you get all the nitty-gritties that you want, and you push that through. And the nice thing about having that type of recordings, because you can listen to it on the go, and it's quite relevant to us as being students, and probably as a working father. When I'm still teaching my daughter, I can listen through those type of recordings. As I'm teaching my daughter, I'm also studying at the same time.
Wonderful, thank you. That is some envious multitasking. So just to add that the live sessions, they are optional. They, some people really enjoy the live sessions and they'll attend every single one. Other people may just prefer to go to the recordings. It's that they are extras rather than something you can do. Some people do prefer to work through the VLE and also then work one-to-one with their tutor. It is very much up to you. So just see what questions we have coming through next. Why choose a work-based distance learning degree? So I would just like to kick this one off, just telling you which degrees that we have. So we do have, we've got a foundation degree in operations management for those who are maybe just starting their management journey. Maybe they're a team leader or a supervisor. You don't have a level 5 as yet. You've yet to start some formal training and you may not have what we would refer to as the accreditation for prior learning route. So we do have foundation degree in operations management, which is a really good foundation for all of our management programs. So we have a business management program. We have a human resource management program, which is accredited by CIPD. We have a logistics program accredited by CILT, and we have an engineering management program. And all of our management programs also allow you to achieve chartered manager. So I just wanted to say which ones we have. So I'm going to pass back to Tony Smith here, who is our program leader for engineering management and its pathways. So why would anyone choose your degree, Tony, or a work-based distance learning degree in general?
I think there's a number of different options students come to us with. Some require advancement, and sometimes a degree is the only option open for them to get that advancement, or maybe they're just looking to assess what's within their current area, and maybe even outside. So we do have some students who don't disclose too much but want to do the degree to help that professional development for themselves. Why choose us? It's quite simply, we've been doing this for about 20 years now. So, and the concept was always around people being in full-time employment and knowing full well. And this probably goes back to the question before from Sarah, is like, how do people balance life in general with their work? Doing a distance learning degree gives you that option to maybe do it in the wee hours, the small hours. It could be focusing over a weekend. It could be little bit by little bit during the working week. So again, it's everything that we're aware of, and we've built it over the last 20 years, trying to ascertain how students are best integrated into it. So that's why we provide virtual learning environments. We call ours Blackboard. Similar ones are Moodle, and other forms are out there as well. We've got resources there, and we've got that contact with tutors as well by email. So all in all, you can stay at home, go to work, and still study all at the same time. Although, as Tim's indicated earlier, and probably Eric would go along with this as well, getting that balance is not always easy, and something has to give. I know when I did my degree, Sky Sports got stopped because I stopped watching sport. That freed up time. It's finding that time is paramount to success, I would suggest.
Thank you for that, Tony. We've got a really interesting question here from Stephen. And he's asking, if you enrolled, but then if you change your job, if you have something else or a different role, what impact might that have on your studies? I'm just going to extend your question slightly, Stephen, and also we mentioned what would happen if you were to take a break in employment as well. So both Tim and Fiona are pastoral care leaders. They are brilliant at this. So if we go to Tim first and then to Fiona, just in terms of what can a student expect if they change roles?
I think it's what you want, isn't it? If you decide to change roles, that's fine. But normally people come in with a reasonable goal. But you know what? If it changes, then that's fine, and we'd be flexible to do that. We've seen it all. Let's be honest. And Tony talks about me doing this for 20 years. I've been doing it for 9 years, and we see things differently all the time, and a different problem comes along. But we have that flexibility, we have the background, and we have the expertise to make it work for you. Okay. And I keep saying to you, because that is what it's about. It's not about us. We do it every day. We have to make sure that what happens in your work, your home life, doesn't impinge on it. And if it does, we work it out. Okay. So that's how I would say. I wouldn't say much more, other than we've not seen everything yet. We may get one tomorrow which we've never seen before, but we will work it out because we've got that challenge masked, really. We've done so many, so it would be nothing to worry about. I would promise you that.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Tim. And then just pass to Fiona. Did you have anything to add there?
Just to add to that, as Tim said, it's all about you as the student, as the learner. So if you did change your role, and perhaps you're working slightly longer hours as you get used to a new job or something like that, and you're concerned that you're not keeping up, that's where you must come back and tell us, because we've got such a robust system to be able to support our learners. If you needed to put in place an extension, we would talk you through that. We've come across these situations and scenarios, so we know what we can do to support you. And also looking at the wider picture, bear in mind that when you enroll in one of our degree programs, you're a part of the entire university. And we also have an entire raft of support mechanisms for everything really you can encounter in life and in your studies. So we do have that there as well. So if you did change job, your working hours change, perhaps you would want to do some research and perhaps the environment's changed, we can so easily help you with that. We just need to know, and then we will put those mechanisms in place and work both things out with you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Fiona. So two quite different ways of tackling that question there. Your assessment's very much developed around what you do in your experience. And as Fiona said, also there's a support package there for as you go through changes. If you need to pause your studies or extend or just need some extra support, someone to talk to about how it will work, and we are here for you. And I'm just going to also pop this question over to Tony, just put him on the spot with engineering management. Just as an example, Tony, if you had someone who was in mechanical engineering on the shop floor, but they moved into, for example, the design offices or changed role in that way, can you offer reassurance about continuing on the programme?
Yeah, I wouldn't see much of a change myself because the engineering prowess is still there. You've probably just gone up another level. And maybe that would go back to what Eric said before, is that critical element. You might see things differently. Everyone sees different elements. Shop floor always see it from a different perspective, likewise managerial. If you're in that middle managerial point, it'll give you a number of outcomes that may actually be the foundation for your work. So I wouldn't overly worry too much from that perspective. Likewise, if for instance, you went away on immediate deployment, we've talked about pausing studies, and you do have up to 730 days to pause your study. Now, I wouldn't suggest you take it all in one go, but we do have a mechanism where you can pause. It'll cost no extra money whatsoever, and then we'll be able to advise you when the next available cohorts that you can rejoin on. So if, for instance, your role did change and you felt you needed to step away for some new training or maybe retraining, we've got that element available where you can focus on what you need to focus on, pause your studies, come back to us at a suitable time.
Wonderful. Thank you. We now have a question. I believe it's a question about fees. And so if we can touch upon that, specific fees, information and ways of funding, you can just email us and we'll give you the specific answer. In terms of some examples of what we have, you could be sponsored by your employer. You could use LCAS if you are military based, or you could use student finance if you are UK based. If you are worried about funding, please do get in touch and we can point you hopefully in a direction to support. But we're very upfront about our fees. They're not secret or anything like that. You can know exactly what they'll be before you join, and you can also check what payment plans are in place. I've got a question now from Chris. Lovely thinking ahead there. So our next online induction is from the 16th to 20th of May. Those are mainly on the evening. We normally do them about 6, 7 each evening, from an hour to up to an hour and a half. And if I can, I'm trying to think who I can, because there's so many people I could pick on here. Tony Smith, you normally run one of our first sessions. Could you just talk a little bit about the online induction, about what it entails?
Yeah, the admin team will send out all due information about joining. Excuse me. So you'll have a whole portfolio of dates and times. Everything's recorded as well. So you'll also be able to access anything should you not be able to attend due to whatever commitments that you've already got. It gives you the opportunity to engage with other students as well. So we have a thing called Padlet where we're able to give you access to individual degree program rooms where your details can be exchanged and fully protected. It's a secret group and no one else has access to it other than those that have been given a link through our process. So again, it's that sort of building up a bit of student peer review sort of support elements as well, which is, again, one of the things that we like to factor into our degrees. Otherwise, every day's got a particular aspect to it. The introduction will give you a little bit of an overview of what a distance learner is, and then we'll progress through library, critical writing, assessment, feedback, and so forth. So you've got a whole suite. I'll be honest, it's a lot of information, and one of the glorious aspects of it is that it's all recorded, so you can always come back to it at an appropriate time as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tony. What I'd like to do next is go to Eric and ask if he was able to attend that and any of his thoughts there. And then just to Fiona, because she also does her Module 1 session in that week, as well as getting people prepped. Eric, were you able to attend the online induction when that occurred for your particular cohort?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was a good experience. I think it was just to set an expectation, make us, settle our nerves and make sure that, guys, this journey, we all taking it with you guys. You're taking it with the people that are there. Those people are your teachers. They are your friend. They're taking you through the journey. So I think for me, that was the kickstart of my journey. And I think probably if I got scared on that meeting, I'll probably not be here today. But I think I'm here today because I think from that starting of that journey was to make sure that I'm really devoted and putting my time in what I want to achieve, because I think we all have different interests in why we want to go into these programs. It's also to sharpen our tools to be prepared for the future.
Wonderful. Thank you, Eric. And then I'm just going to pass to Fiona. Fiona looks after our brand new starters who start at level 4. So for those of you who were interested in the foundation degree and maybe you don't have any degree training as yet and wish to start at level 4, but this does there's a module 1 induction for level 4, 5 and 6. And just as a quick overview, you've got your foundation level, which is a certificate in education. Level 5 is classed as your foundation degree or your diploma. And then finally, level 6 is the BSc honours degree or BA, depending on your path. Sorry, Fiona. I'll pass you just to talk a little bit. What do you do in your module 1 in induction week?
In the induction week, what's really good is, as Eric said, you can be a bit nervous coming into this thinking, golly, what have I signed myself up for? So I go through with the module what we're going to do, how it looks, looking at where we start, and importantly where we end, and then those steps to get through those stages. So you get a really nice overview of what the module entails. There's lots of opportunity for questions, answers, to talk to each other, and of course to get to meet me if I'm leading that session, or anybody who's leading their sessions. You meet a real person. But I think if you are feeling a little bit nervous about what you've signed up for, if you've been out of education for a while, you can see how structured it is and how you're not going to be just dropped in and abandoned, that things are put together very, very well. So it just gives you a nice security to get you ready to then start on week 1.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Fiona. I hope that answered your question, Chris. We do also have on the 21st, we do have the on-site induction day for those who can and wish to come and visit us on campus and have a look at the University of Lincoln. And also part of that induction, what we do talk is about the university network as a whole. So, for example, we have like the Sconal scheme, which allows you to access libraries throughout the UK. And also for those who are part of the military, we also connect with those libraries as well. So brilliant question there, Adrian, matching straight into what we're saying. So Adrian, as a distance learning, are the physical aspects of the university still available to us, such as the library, etc.? Short answer is yes, they definitely are. I'm going to pass to Fiona about some of the wider facilities of the university that are available to you, and then we'll ask Eric for his practical experience of anything that he has used that's found useful.
So if you want to come on campus, you are a student, you have full use of everything. So you've noted in your question about the library, all you need is your student card, and that will give you full access to it. You can go in, use the facilities, log on, all of that. But in addition to that, as you go around campus, we have other really nice places to go. There's the engine shed, the student union places, so you can have a cup of coffee or a meal or a drink. But we also have the student support services in our main building. So you can go in there for advice to do with your studies, but also any other aspect of your life, I would say. You know, if there's something you'd like to talk about, we've got some concerns. As a student, you can come there and you have full access to all those facilities. There is a sports centre as well and a multi-faith centre. If you did want to explore those, it's very easy to just drop in. They'd show you around and help you see what's there that you would be able to access. So the whole campus is fully for you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fiona. Eric, have you accessed any of the wider university facilities at a distance? Perhaps any of the library writing sessions or anything like that?
Wow. Now this is a powerhouse.
That at you.
Yeah. So this is a powerhouse, and I always tell my wife about this. Is that if there's one thing I know about Lincoln, they will give it all. One thing I really loved, actually, in fact, was having a session, because I think when you are actually remote, the biggest challenge is getting access to that library book that you really want to really articulate on. But we have got assistants. Funny enough, those people, they schedule details, they schedule time with you. They can help you to write, to help you to synthesize, to really put your point across. And what I found about those people is actually they're free and they're available. You just need to book them. Trust me, they will elevate your thinking. They will elevate how you actually check your research. And I think probably doing it better, it will craft your tools, so that maybe when you progress to other programs going ahead, those are tools that you actually require. I think those are, I mean, there's many things that you can get in terms of learning development, writing skills. There are even pre-recorded videos that you need to use for yourself. You can listen to those things at your own pace, at your own time. It's there. It's all about you searching it and finding it. Good tools to use. I can assure you, Lincoln has made sure that we've got a whole host of information that's there. So that's a big up for me, because I think from my side, where I'm residing in Pretoria, I am able to access any facilities as if I'm in the campus itself.
That is wonderful to hear. Thank you for that, Eric. So first-hand experience there of accessing the systems online at a distance, and also just to really make it explicit, those appointments, they are, you know, if you like to do them at lunchtime, you can book appointments for that. If you're an evening person, you can book them at the evening. We're not quite 24/7. You can't book to speak to someone at 3 a.m., but there is, there is online systems that are 24/7, and you can speak to real people up to approximately 9 p.m, 10 p.m. GMT. So we've got a question here come through. I think it's Salom. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that correctly. It's an army question. So hopefully, Tim, Tony, you can help with this one. Warrant Officer 2, I can say that we have a logistics management program. We've got a business management program, which is very much leadership and management. We've got Tim, our leadership and management specialist here. So we have leadership and management core module at 30 credits. And we also have a project management module, should you wish to pick it up. Tim, Tony, who would like to pick this one up as Warrant Officer 2? Tim, can you pick this up?
Yeah,
where could we potentially start? What would be the options?
Crikey, as a Warrant Officer 2, you've seen the world and you've done everything. There's nothing else to do. But to be honest with you, from what I hope you've been listening throughout, what you will be able to do is anything you want to, as long as it's in our portfolio. Okay, there's nothing daunting about it whatsoever. And actually, as a 1 officer 2, you've got so much stuff to talk about. You know, you've been there, seen there, and got the tickets. Okay, so project management, logistics management, or leadership and management, it's all there. And I know, being ex-military myself, that you know that, and you've been taught it, and you possibly have taught it yourself. I don't know, to corporals and sergeants. So I think these courses just take you over the edge a little bit further, really, into that possible zone where you haven't been. But as a 1 officer 2, as I keep saying, there's nothing to worry about, and you would be an asset to us, really, because there will be other junior NCOs as well, who perhaps you could buddy up with, and you know, everybody's got their own ideas. So it would be, for the university, great to have you on board, but also, without shadow of a doubt, you'd enjoy the journey. Tony, do you want to add anything?
No, he's a senior NCO level, isn't he? So it would be a case of straight away, guaranteed we would. If, for instance, your previous qualification was something like an MBQ level 3, I wouldn't worry at all, because by virtue of rank, we know that you would be City and Guilds equivalent at sort of like a level 5, 6, or maybe even a 7. So we wouldn't make you buy that certificate. Your rank alone would be sufficient for us to say.
You've got a bit more information there now, Tony, as well. Already
Yeah.
has that level 4 and level 5 diploma. So that means they could come, so you could come straight in at level 6 and complete your full degree in 18 months, because you just have to, because of the nature of the experience that you have, you would only need to complete the last 120 credits. So as Tony says there, by nature of your rank as well. So for anyone sergeant equivalent or above, if you're military, that is the equivalent to member of the CMI, for example. Or what would it be with IET, Tony? Would it be technician or above?
I think it's sort of like technical member, isn't it? Sort of technical member, or like a City and Guilds level 5 license. Was it? I can't remember. Licenserships, I think 4, and graduateship something like a 5, and then it goes up. But essentially, anyone who's sergeant and above with 2 years in rank would be eligible to come straight in direct onto a level 5. Sorry, a level 6 course.
So it is worth, so those who are thinking, well, almost in this journey of a 3-level degree, where would I start? Do get in touch with us. We'll ask you things about, you know, how long have you been a manager for? Have you done any qualifications as yet? Not everybody has. Most people have done some bits of CPD here and there, and we will look at those, you know, things like Prince 2, NEBOSH, and we'll look at your professional body memberships, and we will use those to identify the best starting point and the best pathway for you. You know, even that application stage is about working, you know, working with you for that best placement. And unfortunately, you know, if that's not with the University of Lincoln, we will always signpost you to what works for you, because obviously we want our students to have the best experience they possibly can. We've also got a really interesting question here for Arjun around the 2-year timeline. So I can tell you there that 83% of our students do complete in the 18 to 20 month time frame. Where they do not is where they have made the very purposeful decision to interrupt, and to share the experience generally of looking after some of my own tutees. It can be things like deployment, marriage, divorce, unfortunately, you know, children, maternity leave, paternity leave. Some, you know, as adults, as mature learners, you know, sometimes we do have dependents and things in work going on. But yes, 83% do complete within 2 years. In terms of this, Tim, again, pastorally, you look after a lot of students, often those over the 2 years. What would you suggest in terms of this being realistic?
I think the two-year timeline is very realistic. It's remember, you're only doing the final level of the degree, and its timeline is quite generous, really. It's all about you and what your commitments are at work, how much you want to put it into this as you go along. There will be times when you can't do any work, so you've got to vector that in. But I would suggest with the system we have and the support that we give, that is absolutely achievable. Okay, but it does take some commitment from yourselves. We don't do it for you. Realistic, yes. But that is a strange word, and it may not be like that. It depends what you do, what happens to you as you go along. But if you stick with us as we're going along and complete with us as much as you can, even if you have to interrupt for a few times and then come back, you'll always be able to make up. So my answer to it is down to you, but yes, absolutely.
Thank you for that, Tim. I mean, it's certainly finishing lines rather than finishing times. Can I just pass over, Eric, what's been the reality of the experience of the pacing of the work-based degree? As Tim's alluded to, it's not easy. And Tony, it is a commitment to undertake this level of work. What's your thoughts on the pace there of the degree?
I think, to be fair, for me personally, I think that was one of the key things why I chose Lincoln, because I think for 18 months, really, I think if you were to compare 2 and 2, right, a person that's completing a 3-year degree and a person that's completing 18 months, if you compare the two things, which one would you choose? 3 years sitting in or 18 months? And I think for me, it was just no brainer. I chose the 18 months. The reason being is because the 18 months gives you that flexibility, and you are already talking about the experience that you are in. And I think they alluded to most of us that are already working. It's more around understanding and developing yourself as an individual, because a lot of those things that are sitting in your head and you put them in the paper, maybe it's an opinion, but you are justifying your opinion based on somebody's, clearly articulated point, and you're putting it across. It really helps you to grow. And I think this is the most powerful thing to do and transition yourself through this 18 months, because if you are going through and you put in dedicated time, yes, it's not easy. But what I can say is that it all starts with you first, employing the people that are around you, your managers, your people that you are talking to, the collaboration, the extended teams that you are there. If you are a leader, you also talk to the team, because you are reflecting through them, through yourself, because you are going through the journey, and the journey that you are going through in terms of empowerment that you are going through, it's also filtering through to the other team. So they are benefiting from what you are actually getting on those 18 months. So there's two parts of it. You are benefiting as an individual. They're benefiting from a work perspective. You're benefiting as a parent, as a husband, as a person from the community point of view. So 18 months is really, really a powerful time. Take it wisely, because that opportunity will never come again.
Thank you for that, Eric. And we've got a question here. It's a lovely question about pre-course learning and getting up to speed. So you are correct. The BA Business Management does start at year 3. Level 6 might be an easy way to think of it, because the years aren't time frames. So our module 1s at every level. If you start at level 4, 5, or as with the BA Business Management, if you start at year 3, level 6, bearing in mind in this context, a year takes 18 months. Every module 1 is designed to get you up to speed. There is pre-reading, there is getting started blogs and materials to help you get started, and we send out materials so you can start to get to know the expectations at the University of Lincoln. But I'd like to pass this question to Fiona as one of our module 1 and our study skills leads.
For those first modules, as Amy said, at level 4, 5, 6, we always start with what do you know? And then we add in the academic skills and the writing skills that you're going to need alongside of that. So on a very sort of general level, if you imagine as a mature student, you're in the workplace, you already do a large amount of writing and work where you're putting things together. We take those skills and we put them into the context of academic work. So we go through exactly how to find information, how to write it, how to reference. And all the time that we're doing that, we're building your skills and confidence. And we have a whole host of resources within the module, but also an awful lot of supportive resources that you can access as well. So you will get up to speed within that first module. And those building blocks from the first module, you're going to use them and build upon them in every module that you then do. So that first module is setting you up for the rest of your program of study.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fiona. We've got another military question here from David Harris. Another warrant officer too. Am I exempt from a certain amount of degree through qualifications gained? And the short answer to that would be yes. You could start directly on one of our level 6 programs as part of our what we refer to as APEL, which is accreditation of prior learning. That would allow you to start at level 6 of either business management, logistics management, engineering management, or HRM management. Business management, you could certainly join. The other programs do have some extra entry requirements, as you would expect. Tony, do you just mind mentioning your extra entry requirement for engineering, which is not as scary as it sounds?
No, it just basically needs to be underpinned by being in an engineering environment and having engineering qualifications. So that could be a HNC, which is a level 4, or a HND, which would get you direct entry as well. But again, you can email mpg@lincoln.ac.uk any specifics, and we can directly answer each and every one of those as well. But it wouldn't be that, I wouldn't expect to see somebody who's been working in HR apply for the engineering course, because you don't have that engineering commitment or connection type of thing. So that just needs to be one of those underpinning elements for my particular program.
Thank you, Tony. So just in general, you need to have that experience of the workplace in order to apply that experience to your assessment. So HR, logistics for logistics, engineering for engineering, and business, because that is generalist, that is open to everybody who has that level 5 experience. So we've got a question here about the enrolment for those students who have been with USB ED. Oh, sorry, got a little bit of echo back there. So we do have a dedicated administrator for our USB Ed students. Her name is Melanie Rushforth, and she would, if you were to email that Ask WBDL, she would come straight back to you and talk to you about the requirements of enrollment, which just including that USB-ED certificate. So Eric has first-hand experience of this. Eric, how did you go about starting the degree with us?
So my journey really started, I think 3 years ago. I started with the University of Stellenbosch. So I did my management degree. So I moved on to the NDP, where I collected my 210 points, and then I was able to come through to this program. And I think that's the journey that you start. And I think from where you started from USB, they will tell you the points that will elevate you to go to this. And it's really a prepping stage for you to get to this program. And I think you should be in a good, capable mindset to come into this program, because it really does prepare you for some of these things that we are going through today. And it's quite a wonderful journey. And I'm meeting with quite interesting characters and interesting people, beautiful mindsets, people that can really share a whole lot. And I think that collaboration would be very, very essential for you to moving around, even into other areas within Europe, because you are creating that network, because that network is your net worth.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Eric. So that's brilliant to hear your story coming through. That very first step of enrolling into the program would be, if you can drop us an email and on that contact us on, and like I say, our dedicated administrator Mel would be in touch with you. Our next question is a clarification one for our senior non-commissioned officers and our junior non-commissioned officers. So from my point of view as layman terms, not being ex-military, in terms of senior non-commissioned officers, you would automatically have entry at level 6. For junior non-commissioned officers, there is a little bit of a CV check just to see what your route has been, what your trade is. Tim or Tony, would you like to pick this up?
I think what you just said, Amy, is spot on. As a senior NCO, you have that level 5 tick. We wouldn't even need to see it really, as long as you are a senior NCO, substantive senior NCO. With junior NCOs, it's a little bit more difficult, and there are some junior NCOs who are really, really clever and long in the tooth. So we'd have to look at those individually, and there may be something about a top-up maybe for them. But generally, as we say, just get in touch with our admin team and ask the question, because that's what they're there for, and they're very, very good at it. So as a senior NCO, no problems. Below that, there could be extra bits you need to do, which I'm not sure about, but the admin team will be able to tell you that, unless Tony, you've got any further stuff you can say.
Yeah, I'll probably add a little bit to that. So we obviously are aware that junior ranks nowadays do have considerable qualifications. I've met a number of below corporal in an army visit recently who had master's degrees. So it's a case of anybody who's got a level 5 qualification, and they could be Lance Corporal, SAC, or they can be an able rate in the Navy. If they've got a level 5 and they can show that they've got capacity of some form of management, and that could be like an associated duty or something, that'll give you access into our course. The problem arises for junior ranks is if they've not got that level 5. Predominantly, a promotion course in any of the 3 services will give corporals a level 4. So that's where we need that elevation up a little bit. So it could be professional body membership, or it could be something else as well. So it could be a professional recognition award. You can go elsewhere and look towards that, whereas they'll assess you in your current role. So there are options. If you've got a level 5, there shouldn't be an issue being a junior NCO. If you've not got it, then you'll have to look at alternatives. Maybe that's where you contact us again on those emails written below. And that's for everybody. Anyone who's non-military as well, who's in a similar position, could be, as Amy indicated earlier, sort of lower level manager, maybe newly promoted in there, might not have that experience. Again, you know, we are open to have that discussion to see what might need to be done.
So we'd certainly encourage anyone to get in touch. Like I said, just for junior NCOs or for those with more supervisory roles, sometimes we just have to add an additional layer of evidencing, be that, for example, like professional body membership, as Tony suggests. But like I say, get in touch. We will suggest to you the best way for you to start your next academic journey. So we've got a question here about human resources. So with 12 years experience, so 12 years experience, so we say you require 3 years experience to come straight into level 6. So 12, you definitely tick that box. And also 1 year with a BTEC diploma. So so if you have a full BTEC diploma and your 12 years work experience in human resources, you'd have to submit those as part of your application form. But the combination of that BTEC diploma and the 12 years working experience would give you straight access into the level 6, the final level of the BSc Honours Human Resource Management Programme. Like I say, and that one is CIPD accredited, and also you'd get chartered manager on completing that as well. So we take into account that experience. So hopefully that's a nice easy one, and we'll see your application. So we've got a few just thank yous there at the bottom now. So I'm just going to check and see if we've got any questions. We've had the lesson times. We'll just reiterate on that one. So in terms of time, so each module length is slightly different. So for example, Tim said he had a larger module that's at 16 weeks long. Fiona's module is slightly shorter, at 10 weeks long. Students hand in at week 9 on the Monday, so actually 8 weeks and a day. You then get 2 weeks of reflection time, because we have identified that actually time to recuperate and reflect is really important for your momentum with the degree. In terms of the online lessons, by lessons I'm thinking the online live elements. They are set when you start your particular module, and your module coordinator, for example Tim in that ILME example, will email out when those lessons are. And if you can join us online, then you're really welcome to. If you can't, they're available as recordings, and you can always catch up with your tutor, be it by Teams, by email, whatever suits you. And there isn't lessons every day and every week. I will just ask Tony, on your 15 credit 10-week module, how many live sessions do you have?
I normally have 2 live sessions, normally at weeks 2 and weeks 5. Essentially, week 2 allows students to have a look at the resources and assess what's needed of them, and then gives them a little bit of an introduction of what they should be looking towards. And then round about number 5, week 5, is where we delve in a little bit deeper and start looking at more academic practice, good practice, underpinning, being critical, etc. And then during the whole of the 8 weeks anyway, you've still always got access to your tutor as well. So the 2 live sessions are recorded, and throughout you've got access to your tutor as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Tony. And we've got another question through here in terms of how the competitiveness of the application process. So I'm happy to answer this one. In terms of the application process, because we are work-based, because it's distance and online, and because we are a huge team here at the University of Lincoln, we've got over 100 academics as part of our team. We've got approximately 25 professional services within our bubble, as it were, before going out into the wider university. If you are accepted onto the course, if you meet our entry requirements, we will offer you a place. We will offer you can start in one of our next 3 intakes. We have 3 intakes a year. Our next application deadline is April the 18th in order to enroll for May 9th. And so I mentioned that 16th online induction. So if you were to apply now and we were to accept you, we would say, would you like to start in May? If that's a little bit too soon for you, we can say, well, would you like to start in October? Or we have another 3rd intake in February as well. So if you meet the criteria, we will accept you onto the course. So we are very lucky in that everything, obviously, with being online, it's about bandwidth rather than how many chairs you can put in a room. Okay. So a question here from Chris, as we're getting some really good specific questions here. Recommendations for the study of reference cannot be from a colleague. Is this an immediate colleague, or could it be from officer and charge manager? So they do normally get sent direct to the university. Can I pass this to you, Tony Smith? Because you look at a lot of these with engineering having so many applications. What do you look for in that study reference?
Oh, study reference.
So I'm assuming this is the managerial reference.
Yeah, well, we have a number of elements within the application process, and there's a number of documents that people upload. So we are generally looking at there's a commitment element. So there's you put what you want to get down from back from this study, so to speak. You've also got your CV, you've got your qualifications. And we will go out and ask for references as well. So if you don't provide the references, the process will actually remind the administrator to seek them, so we can actually ask further questions of your referees as well. So there is a lot of information that's presented there, and if it all ties in, decisions are pretty much made quite quickly. So we don't labour too long. And if we need additional information, we request the information before making a decision as well. So it's not like it's instantaneous. No, it will be, let's go back to the student or the potential applicant and see whether or not we can get some more further information, maybe describe a little bit more of what their responsibilities and managerial capacity is. So there's always avenues whereby if we don't see the information we want or need, we'll request it and actually get you to come back to us.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Tony. So this is my summary of short answers there. You know, we would expect it to be someone from the chain of command, your manager, your supervisor, your team leader, someone who can say what you do within your day-to-day role. You will be asked to put, as part of your applications, you'll be asked to provide their details, and it will be an online system which they'll ask them to submit. But of course, if you have any worries about that or how that works, then again, please feel free, email our admin team who know much more about the details of what comes out of that application system. We've then got another question here just from David about an open day on the 21st of March for online learning. That isn't one that we're aware of in our diaries. It could quite easily be one of the on-site ones for the students starting in October, full-time on-site. Our deadlines now, our application deadline is the 18th of April, which would then be for online induction on May 16th. And then we'd have our on-site day on the 21st of May. So that might be, it might be that you're looking at the Saturday, the 21st of May. That's our induction day on site. If that's not quite what you was getting at, please do add a second question in the chat. And then back to Chris. Chris, I'm glad that made sense. So I think we are, I think we're there for questions. So I would just like to thank you all for your questions. It's been wonderful to see those come through. If you haven't had a chance to have anything or you need any clarification, do just send us an email on those going around the bottom of the screen. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to say thank you to the panel for joining us this evening as well. It's been wonderful to have you all online, and thank you for answering these wonderfully specific questions. I've got a thanks there from Dan. So lovely. And obviously a huge thank you to Eric, our student ambassador. First time you've done one of these. And of course, with the time difference as well, we understand that it's not always easy. We really do appreciate having that student view, because it's almost, of course, as the academics, we're always going to say that this is wonderful and something that everyone should do. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. It's just thanks from me, and any questions, do get in touch, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.